Chris, thanks. All new this afternoon at 5, the South Carolina Supreme Court taking up the controversial Heritage Act.
Now, we combed through it to find specific wording, and we found that the act bans any changes to monuments named in honor of the Confederacy or the Civil Rights Movement without two-thirds vote by the General Assembly. Now, the Heritage Act was passed back in 2000 as part of the compromise that eventually took down the Confederate flag off the State House. A lawsuit claims the Heritage Act violates the state constitution by improperly constraining lawmakers from removing or modifying monuments because a two-thirds vote is required for any changes. Well, today, the court heard opening arguments in this case.
The compromise that went into place to enact the Heritage Act encompassed more than just a two-thirds provision or not. It encompassed a compromise on the part of people who were in favor of moving the flags and people who were not necessarily in favor of that, but they compromised the idea of moving the flags and protecting the monuments.
It was part of the compromise, not just compromise, but it was the assurance, because the protection was by preventing future changes. We know from the body's representations here, but also from the text and the structure, that they wouldn't have happened without that. There's nothing that suggests severability was anywhere in the discussion.
Well, Fox Carolina's Carrie Weimer joins us live now in Greenville at Springwood Cemetery. That's actually where one of the state's Confederate monuments has been the center of that controversy in the upstate.
So, Carrie, you talked to people today, both for and against the Heritage Act. What are you learning?
Yeah, guys, you know, this is just one of over 100 places across the state that have a public Confederate monument on display. Of course, we've been here before, as well as other areas around the upstate where there's been protest. We talked to people today about the Heritage Act. Of course, many having opinions both for and against.
Right here in the upstate, the topic of whether or not to remove Confederate monuments and statues is one people feel very passionate about, whether for or against.
It depends on the reason. I can't really conflict or contrast anybody's reason at this point, but I think history is very important, and our country wouldn't be what it is without the history.
It doesn't erase the history because people are still being affected by it.
The commander for the local Sons of Confederate Veterans told us today if the Heritage Act is repealed, they will continue to fight to preserve what they feel is a part of history.
If you start with Confederate monuments, it will not end there. You have to protect all monuments, good or bad history.
Supporters of getting rid of that protection say the statues and monuments are offensive and need to come down.
It doesn't matter what they are intended to do, whether they're intended to offend or not. It's that they do offend.
It's really important to even look at our bad history in the face and be able to face it. We shouldn't be able to destroy it just like that.
I don't think it erases our history. I think it gives us a chance to correct and make amends for our history, as well as progress further from it.
No word at this point on how long it will take the state Supreme Court to answer these arguments, but of course we'll keep you updated. Cody, Tori.